What's going on, guys? It's your host DTX. Welcome to another episode of JuicedCast. This is episode 7. I can't believe we've made it this far. With all the support you guys have been giving us. I'm joined by my co-host Zed. How's it going, bro?
I'm doing well, man. Happy to be back for our seventh episode. Yeah, we've come a long way, and you know what? Today is a special day. We've got a really great guest who's going to be joining us on the show today. And yeah, I'd like to introduce him. So this is going to be we're going to be talking to Jalen today from Osiris Bots, the Raffle Bot. Great guy, an even better businessman. Software manager, all that. So we get to pick at his brain today, but I'll let him introduce himself.
Jalen. I'm the owner of Osiris, or co-owner, should I say, of Osiris. And yeah, we just have a raffle bot. That's basically our main thing right now. And I'm glad to be on the show.
Thank you for coming on. You were highly requested after that Clubhouse episode, and it was very well received by our audience. So thank you again for coming back on.
Of course.
And something we really discussed last time was kind of getting right into it was NFTs.
Yeah.
It's been, I'd say a month since we were on Clubhouse, around 4 weeks. How would you say the NFT game has changed in this past 4 weeks?
I feel like it's kind of died down a little bit. Not anything substantial, but I feel like it's kind of died down a little bit. And especially like botting it, because certain sites like Top Shot now they have requirements where certain jobs you have to have like specific cards. You know what I'm trying to say? Like specific cards, specific requirements to enter that. So it's not really as profitable because when when sites try to stop botting and everything, it kind of brings down the hype of it because a lot of people are in it to make money. So if they stop it where people can't make money as much as they could before, then I feel like it just automatically like starts to die down, you know? So Top Shot is a big one. That one that it, like reached its peak a while ago and it's starting to fall off a lot. And NFT in general, I just feel like the hype is going down a little bit. It's still there, but I feel like it's going down a little bit right now.
What's your thoughts on how volatile the crypto market has been in the past month, and do you think that has affected the NFT market, and if
Yeah,
so,
I think it does.
how?
I think it does. I feel like there's just a big rush of NFT and then crypto started to blow up even more, like just just all at one time, you know. But crypto, I think it's crazy. It's really volatile right now. Like I would see, if you just look at the market, crypto can be up 10%, 15%, and the next day it's down 20%, and the next day it's up 10%. Like specifically Doge, I bought some of it actually, and yeah, it's just like a crazy like ride. Like 4 days in a row went up like 20% each day, and then it dropped 50%, and then now it was up I think like 18% today.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
saw
crazy.
that.
It's crazy. It's like a gamble. It's just like stock options, if you know what those are. I feel like
Yeah,
it's like that. Just goes up and down dramatically right now.
yeah. So in December, I bought some Doge for
Mm,
like zero point zero
it's
eight
crazy.
cents, and
Uh,
I sold it at like 2 cents, and I thought I was a genius or something. And now
that's
just
good though.
looking
That's
at it
good.
now, yeah, it was good, but like looking at it whenever it hit 40 cents, you
Yeah, like now that you see it now, you're like, oh wow, I could have made way more.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I feel
Hindsight,
you.
right? So I just think that that's something
um,
that I hate about crypto is I always sell too early, and I'm like, but I always tell people like take your margins
yeah,
and leave, right? You can never predict the future.
yeah. Because if you look at it like, oh, well, I should just buy more. It could have fell. It could have had the opposite effect, and you were like, oh, I'm glad that I sold. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So it's
eh,
just kind of like whatever happened in the moment, it was just better for your situation.
Exactly. It's funny that you brought up stock options because
Yeah.
you remember that week where GameStop went crazy.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
the Wall
It's
Street bets week,
dumb.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was one of the people that shorted GameStop that week. So it was, yeah,
uh,
it was really funny that you brought that
yeah, I,
up.
I bought I bought some of it. I bought like some stock options, but I didn't get any crazy gains. Like some people are getting like 1,000% gains and stuff. I think like maybe I got a 200%, which is still pretty good. But
I
a lot of
lost
people are
that,
getting like
man.
way more percentage of gains. But it was a
That's
cool little
crazy.
ride to go on.
I remember everyone's like, all right, GameStop's gonna declare bankruptcy any day
Yeah.
now. So I was like, all right, time to short it. And
And that happened.
yeah, and
It's
then it
funny.
just skyrocketed.
Wait, so you
But
bought it before, like, did you buy it before it went up, or did you buy it when it went up and you're anticipating it going down?
I shorted, so I was anticipating it
Uh,
going down before the
uh,
entire
oh,
Wall
before
Street
the whole
bets
thing
thing.
happened, so you
Yeah.
basically lost like everything from that.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Everything. Yep.
Wow.
And it happens. It's all about how you bounce back and come up with the game plan to recover everything back. Which
Yeah, of course.
it takes time, but you get there eventually.
Yeah, but I've had my fair share with stocks and well, not stocks really, but more so options.
Yeah.
It's been a ride. Even I mean crypto too. It's
So you
been
like
crazy.
dealing with the more exciting stuff, options, crypto.
Yeah, I don't really like stocks because I bought some one time and I just couldn't, like, it would go up, like $5 or go down like $10. It was like so minimal, like 1%, 2% if that. Um, so I just like the more high risk, high reward thing. But then you gotta look at like the risk thing too. Like it's also very risky. Where stocks, I mean, obviously there's some risk involved, but it's more like less risky, you know.
I hear
So
you,
I
man.
don't know,
Yeah.
but it's boring to watch. So it's like both a negative and a positive.
So I was talking to a friend today and we
Uh,
were discussing, the recent news that's been coming out for you guys down in the States. And I've been meaning to ask you guys how it's going out and panning out for you as, not necessarily just resellers or software developers,
uh,
but also businessmen, right? We focus a lot on investments.
yeah.
And, a recent big thing that's happening on your end is Biden's statement where he eyed the
Mm,
capital gains tax that he
mm,
introduced.
mm.
How is that affecting you guys now and in fact affecting sort of your decision making and future investments in that regard?
Um, honestly, I'm trying to think of it. I don't think like right now it would really affect, but with that being said, it would make me want to invest more because when you invest, you get to write that off. So
Yeah.
it made
I,
me want to invest more, like not necessarily just sneaker stuff, but it can be other things such as real estate or whatever. Just
that's
makes
what I
me want to
was.
invest more. Yeah,
That's what I was right about to say. Is that
yeah,
kind of stuff. It goes beyond sneakers. It goes beyond,
yeah.
sneaker investments. It goes to something that you want to hold as a long term investment or something you want to,
Yeah,
you
like
know.
there's a lot of different opportunities that
Exactly. Yeah.
that you should just like not only invest your money in, but you can also defer your taxes for a while if you do that. Or at least just bring you to a lower income so you're not taxed as high. But yeah, I think just just investing in stuff is just like a benefit in both ways. You get to also build your money, having something rather than just sitting in, a bank account doing nothing. And then also as well, you get to kind of defer your taxes and kind of push that off for a while until you sell like the house or whatever you purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. And not to change the topic or
Yeah,
anything, but what are your thoughts on crypto being taxed and stuff like that?
tax. I mean, I I kind of look at it as the same thing as stocks kind of. So I mean that honestly that understand like that's understandable because that's income that you're making that you're using to spend within the United States. So like it's understandable why it's taxed. Do I agree with it being taxed? Not really, but I mean I understand. I just you're just making money within that country because you're using services from the United States or not United States specifically, but companies made in the United States using their
Mhm.
services to make money. So I mean, kind of like you should pay tax for that since it's just like whatever money you make in America should be taxed, I guess technically.
Yeah, and I think the way Coinbase or like one of the biggest
Yeah,
uh, crypto trading platforms
yeah,
that recently went public, I think the way that they're going to be doing is they're going to have 1099s at the end of the year,
yeah. Like
and
just
just
how
like
like Robinhood and stuff
Robinhood.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
I
I think it'll
think
be exactly like that.
yeah, and I feel like that's just going to be the easiest way for the users,
Mm.
for to just include it in their when taxes when they file.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of to change the topic more
Uh,
back to your business and Osiris Raffle Bot.
uh,
I was checking out y'all's social media today, and just to see
uh,
the growth that y'all have had, over 30,000 followers on Twitter.
yeah.
What advice would you have for an up and coming software developers trying to grow their social media, kind of like how y'all have?
Um, so my advice I would just have is honestly just make connections with people. I like that's honestly the biggest thing that you can do because if you have those connections, you can set up giveaways. And no, every almost every single bot just grows on on social media via doing giveaways with other bots. So if you're like a new person you don't really know anybody that's not, you're not going to really find any benefit from that, because people aren't going to be like, you hit somebody up in the DM, oh, can I run a giveaway with you? Most likely they're just going to ignore you, to be honest with you. But if you know them from, I don't know, from a cook group, or you're in a development group and you like speak to those people, they'll like be more inclined to like, oh yeah, we can run a giveaway, because you know them and you talk to them, rather than just like sliding their DMs and everything. So I feel like the main thing is honestly just making connections, and with those
Absolutely.
connections, setting stuff up, like setting up giveaways, and yeah, just mainly giveaways. Once you start doing giveaways, you'll attract more giveaways. So, like I don't have like 1,000 followers and you're hitting up about with 10,000 followers. Like I see that happen a lot. Like we'll have people DM us and they're like, oh, we're gonna give it with us, and they'll have like 2,000 followers. Which nothing's wrong with that. I'm just saying like you have to find something where like both bots or groups mutually benefit from it, or just closely benefit from it. So just like find out somebody else like you. If you got 1,000 followers, find somebody like 1,500, and then most likely you guys don't have the same followers. So you'll gain something from them, they'll gain something from you. As you just go, it'll just be easier to gain more followers, and then after that, it's just honestly like a ball rolling.
That's a
So
really interesting point you made, is about like sort of finding that mutual benefit, right? Like in our
yeah,
industry, we have a lot of people. I think we're fortunate. The more and more you diversify yourself, connect with
yeah,
people, you find that people are, willing to lift each other up, right?
of course.
But anyways, I wanted to add on to, DTX mentioned how
Mhm.
your Twitter is blowing up right now. And I mean,
Yeah.
congratulations on the success. It's ridiculous. Like I saw a couple of tweets
Mhm.
earlier today, or I think it was, you guys checked out like 500 plus the
Yeah,
taupe
we
forest.
had
That
500
that's
yeah,
big, man.
top fours today. Or not today, my
That's
bad, it was
big.
yesterday. But thank you.
To build off that, like, 500 is a lot, for
mm,
a raffle bot, right? Like we have all these
yeah,
other bots in the industry, and they're botting like big stock that's dropping on like Foot
yeah,
Locker or whatever it may be. But to do this with like raffle bots, right?
yeah.
From raffles, from different boutiques, different stores, how do you guys do that? And do you want to give our listeners a little insight into sort of like what stores you guys cover and how you go about deciding, which one is receiving the most stock for raffles, what's the most profitable, and how you go about that?
Well, what we try to do mainly, honestly, we just there's two different tactics that we have. One, you just you like it. We have a user suggestion channel, so they could just suggest any website that they would like, and then we'll look at it, and then we'll like do some research like on some like past wins and everything. And if we've seen like wins from there before, we'll most likely add it just to like test the field. Like I don't know if you guys remember, but DSM used to be like really good.
Yeah.
And then we were the first bot to add DSM, and then we
Mhm.
were just like, oh, like let's just add it, and it ended up being extremely well. Then that took off. We were getting a couple hundred pairs every release. Um, but yeah, I would just say like just test the waters and just see certain stuff that like just try, because one time you just hit a lot and then you get lucky. Eventually, other bots will find out and catch on, but until then. But another thing that we do is we'll look for difficult websites. So we have a lot of sites that are extremely difficult to bot, which is why we're the only ones that do it. Obviously, that's not as simplistic. You have to have somebody skilled enough to do that. But
Mhm.
if you do pull it off, then you reap the benefits, because you'll be one of the only people to support that site, or at least to fully support it. Like there's certain sites where a bot has it as like a human mode, like their browser will pop up and like all that stuff, but that's extremely slow. Whereas if you have a bot with requests, it's gonna beat it automatically. So you might be able to get, you might be able to get like 100 entries in with the other one, whereas the request you'll get 1,000 within that time span. Certain
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
fair.
Um, yeah, definitely like completing hard websites that are big is like the most beneficial thing. But it's gonna take more work rather than just trying to find random websites.
Mhm. And so,
Um,
you said like limiting competition is
yeah,
really big, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
in terms of like the development side of things on the back end of things, right? I know that in the botting industry, no matter,
yeah,
what site you're botting, whether it may be raffle botting or just in general foot site botting,
yeah,
Shopify, right? There's a lot of bot site protection that's happening these days, and there's a lot of
yeah,
adjustments that happen. How
yeah.
would you say, I'm not too sure how familiar you are with sort of the other side of botting, but is there a lot of sort of day-to-day adjustments and changes you guys have to do with your software, and how much troubleshooting is there really being done?
Well, we try to release updates daily. Um, we don't always do that, obviously, because sometimes we work on stuff that you can't just get done in a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like certain sites, they'll just add like it happens pretty constantly. But like if it's a big site, we'll try to hop on and fix. Like for example, we have this one site that we do really well on, which is Snipes, and they recently updated to a new raffle form, and we updated within the same day. It's just like that's like the priority because we know that's a site that we do well on, so we're gonna go try to fix that site as soon as possible. But yeah, a lot of sites they'll just add like random stuff, like they'll just change up, the entry, like the way the raffle is formatted, stuff like that. But most of our modules, honestly, are AAO modules, which basically means that it can fit. So they have like different what am I supposed to say? Companies that run raffles, Viral Sweep. There's a lot of different ones. I have to check the names, but like Google Form, Viral Sweep. What else do they have? Give me a second. Google Form, the Viral Sweep, Gleam, stuff like that, MailChimp, those type of raffles. So we support like AIO. So any site that runs a raffle through their system, you can automatically answer with the bot.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, and we have like out of all the raffle bots, I'm pretty sure we have the most like extensive list of them. So that's like a big thing because most like all these like AIOs, they cover majority of the raffles. So no, if there's like a flash raffle or like a new website, we don't even have to go out the way and work on it because we already support it. You know what I'm saying? Because we already
Yeah,
support it
yeah.
with our bot. So that covers like a lot of websites, like a lot because I don't know, just like most websites use them. We also have this thing that covers Shopify, so Kith, exhibitions, like a lot of different raffles that we just automatically cover. So with that being said, since that's like a customizable entry, if those sites change up, it's not even hard to adjust to it. You just put in a different command and then it automatically adjusts to it. So we don't really have a lot of issues with it. Yeah, we don't have a lot of issues with it. The only thing that I guess we could say we really had recently was Viral Sweep. They started using a emoji cap. So like you
Okay.
have to just click like random emojis. It's like a customizable thing. But we're the first bot that automatically solves that. And yeah, the first bot that automatically solves it. So we just worked on it, got it fixed up, and then pushed it back out.
That's big. That's big. I'm going to steal you for one more question before I pass you back to DTX. But,
Yeah.
we've been fortunate enough to have you on the show now twice, and I've managed to get some good conversation, get to know you a little better. But I'm sure that, our listeners right now are very curious to know who Jalen is and sort of what your story is, man. Like it is really, really phenomenal, amazing what you've been able to turn around with, your business and your software. How did you come to be, the owner of Osiris Raffle Bot, and where did your passion start? Were you always an avid sneaker fan? Were you about this sort of culture? How did you transition into this?
So I transitioned into this because I used to just always like shoes. I mainly like Yeezys. I don't know why I was always in love with Yeezys. I like Jordans as well, but I used to always be into Yeezys. So um I wanted my first Yeezys. It was the Yeezy 350 V2 creams. And I was like, okay, I gotta figure out how to get it. At this time, I didn't really know what bots were. I just wanted the shoe, not to resell, not because not because I wanted to like resell and make money off of it. I just like the shoe personally. I just wanted to keep it. So what happened was I just entered like a whole bunch of different raffles and everything. And then I tried on Yeezy Supply for the first time because at the time you had to like stay up till 2 a.m. and it would be like a random shock drop. So I literally stayed up the whole night. And then I went for the shoe. I actually ended up getting two pairs of them. Um Even though I was only trying to get one, I was like, okay, well maybe I'll just copy it and just see what happens. So then afterwards I checked and I saw like online they're going for like 400 or 500. I was like, wait, this is cool. Like, I didn't even know that shoes really resold. Or I never really looked into it. I mean, I know they were like limited and they were hard to get, and you had to like have different methods of getting them, but I never really looked into it. So I was like, oh, like they resell. So now after that point, I would just always, they would have easy jobs. I would just stay up all night and then just try to cop the easies because I was like, it was honestly not that hard as long as you just had notifications on for a Twitter channel that posted them and you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
there. Yeah, and you were there, you basically got it. Like if you were quick enough. So yes, I would just start like buying Yeezys and then reselling them for like, extra 100, 200, whatever it was. And then what happened after that is I was just on Discord, and not Discord, my bad, I was on Twitter, and I was searching up sneaker info because I would just use Twitter for all my information.
Yeah.
So then I seen something where like somebody linked Discord, like a sneaker Discord. At the time I didn't know what Discord was. So I'm like, wait, let me click
Yeah.
it. Like I was like, let me click it. I'm curious what it's gonna take me to. So then it took me to like this group chat with like just people talking about sneakers. So like, oh, this is fire, whatever. So then I started looking for like different Discords. So I found this other Discord was called, I think, Revolve Restocks. They don't exist anymore, but at the time they were like not big, but they weren't like small, it was like a medium, yeah. So I found Revolve Restocks. So then I was like, oh, let me join this, whatever. So I joined, and like I would just be in there like every drop, like just talking like in voice chat, just acting like a member, like a regular member. And then one time there was this dude, and he came in the Discord, and he sent a invite to his bot. It was called Shrimp AIO. It's not the Shrimp AIO right now. It was just like he just called it Shrimp AIO,
So
right?
an older shrimp IO,
Yeah. So I joined, and I was like, oh, like, what is this, And I thought he was just joking. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is my bot that I'm making. I was like, oh, that's cool. Can I be like a staff member or administrator, whatever? And he was like, oh yeah, because we just talk sometimes. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever. So I'm just gonna give you like a quick rundown because that's like a whole nother story within itself.
Yeah.
But long story short, I would just basically run the company for him. So like I actually controlled the whole Twitter, set up giveaways, like all that stuff like that. Um yeah, so I basically did everything. He would literally do nothing. And then
You were
he
basically the owner at this
yeah,
point.
basically, yeah, he wouldn't even do anything. But he would always be like, oh yeah, well, I'm providing the money, I'm like paying people or whatever. So like I'm the owner, I'm like, okay, that's fine, like, it's cool. I'm not really tripping over that. Um so then he hired some developers. Come to find out they were off of Fiverr. They were off of Fiverr. He hired
Just
some
all
developers off of
outsourced
Fiverr.
people then, right?
Yeah.
That's
So he
hilarious.
hired some developers off of Fiverr. And then I didn't really know at the time, but I was like, okay, these are the new developers or whatever. And then they weren't really making any progression. Like they made, I think, like a very, very, very simplistic script of a Shopify checkout, but that took them
Yeah.
like 2 months to do. So I was like, no, like this isn't gonna work out. So then I hit them up and I was like, ask them, I was like, oh, where you guys from? And I was like, oh, did he pay you? And then I guess like he was supposed to pay them like $400 or something, and he never paid them. So they were getting fed up because they were like, oh yeah, like we don't want to work because you're not even paying us. But this whole time he was like lying to me. He was like, oh yeah, I spent all this money and everything when he didn't pay for anything.
That's
So I'm just like at
hilarious.
this company with like a bot that's not being worked on, with developers that aren't even qualified, but even if they were,
Yeah.
they weren't even getting paid. And then I'm like, come on, bro. Like I built like this whole like Twitter. We had like I mean like 5,000, 6,000 followers within like a month or two.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then like this Discord with like everybody ready, and I'm just being told like, oh yeah, like it's being worked on, it's gonna be ready next month, whatever. So I'm like, I'm like excited. And then we devised a plan to release. So he had like X amount of copies in mind. He was gonna sell them for X, whatever. And
Yeah.
it came out to like 30,000 or something like that, I think. And his plan was that his breakdown would be like 25,000, and then he would split like 5,000 within like all the staff members.
So this
So
guy
I'm
was
like,
barely even breaking
yeah,
even.
yeah. So I'm like, bro, like first thing, you're not even paying for anything, and then on top of that, you're not even doing anything, but you're trying to take like majority of the money. So I was like, no, like that's not gonna happen. Um, and at this point, I had already had like making a bot in my mind, I was like, I really want to do this because I was like very
Mhm.
interested into it. So I was like, okay, so I just went to go create my own company. And yeah, I just used the same thing I did to build up that company, or yeah, that company I just did to build up my company. And then we started off with an autofill because at the time this was in 2019. So autofills were like a big thing because
Yeah, the extensions and all that.
yeah, because a
Yeah.
lot of bots are restock and it would just be like
Mhm.
a simple like stripe form or whatever. So autofills were like a really big
Man,
thing.
those were the days, man. You could
Yeah,
get
yeah.
anything. You turned all your investments now. Holy man.
Yeah. So there was like two other autofills. It was Fite, I don't know how to pronounce it. And then there was, I think it was called C. SEI autofill. I don't know if it's still a thing or not. But yeah, so I think they charge like $20 for theirs, and it was just like a Stripe checkout. And then I don't know about Fate, but I know Fate was like extremely hard to get. So I was like, okay, well, let me make autofill. I'll add Shopify, Supreme, and Stripe like all in one, and I was like, let me charge $30. So yeah, so I was like the first autofill to have all three of those things. So then everybody just went to us, and they're like, oh yeah, I need that, because we started like when Cyber would do restocks, we would get like a majority of the copies and everything of Cyber. So then Cyber was like a really big bot. Well, it still is a really big bot, but
Yeah.
especially back then, it was like one of the only bots that resold for like a couple of thousand. Like, I think it was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
4,000
Well,
per
at the
time.
time, that was a ridiculous
Yeah,
price,
yeah. At
right?
the time, that was ridiculous
When
amount,
I
but
was
not.
looking at investing at the time, I was like,
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
way I'm dropping that much. And
yeah,
now
yeah,
today
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I should have done it, man.
Because I think at the time it was like 4K for Cyber, and then I think
Yeah.
Kodak was like 2K, and those like
Yeah.
the two bots that actually had like multi-$1,000 resale.
I still
Um,
remember when Soul was like $300 and Wrath was like,
yeah,
Man, people today would not believe you if they heard those
yeah,
prices though.
facts. But yeah, so it was really bad. So we just started getting a lot of traction from that, and then eventually, I was like, oh, I want to move on to like an actual bot. So we set off Raffle Bot, and yeah, everything came from that.
That's really interesting, man. I don't know if you've been following our previous, like we had sort of mini series going on in terms of sort of intro into botting into our industry and sort of giving
Uh,
insight into our listeners about sort of how to get this going, right?
uh,
And we sort of set aside this, I guess, like rough budget on how much money you
mm,
need on hand to maybe start as a botter, right? And start as a reseller. If
mm,
you don't mind me asking, like, how much money would you say for the average
mm,
person who's looking to take the next step, maybe indulge in that aspect of software development
yeah,
or starting their own company? What does that look like, and how do you build that up?
starting a company or just getting into reselling.
No, so starting like a company,
Okay,
starting
starting a
your own
company.
sort of, yeah, and
All right.
deciding which one's for you, I guess, right?
Okay, so in terms of cost, it varies heavily because it depends who you're working with. Because you have some developers that will work for $2,000 a month. You have some that's 4, you have some
Mhm.
that's 8. Um, but with that being said, I feel like a very good starting base. If you want, if you want a bot that like is gonna like do decent, I guess you could say, a very good starting base would be like 6 to 8 thousand a month. Like, because you don't really want. This is what I learned. You don't want one person working on the bot, because I mean that's cool, because you can lower your costs and everything, but stuff isn't really gonna be efficient, because you have somebody working on like all the websites as well as the front end, and everything is not really gonna pan out that well, in my opinion. Like, if you have a set bot, like everything's done, and you hire one developer, that's a little bit different. But I don't think you should really start a bot with just one person at like just
Yeah.
doing everything. Like that's just a lot of responsibility on one person.
Well,
Um,
that reminds me of, I don't know if you've been
yeah,
following
yeah,
Polaris recently, but
mm,
like Easy Lab, their head developer, he like, I
yeah,
mean, he had some personal reasons he had to step away for a bit, but that was their only developer,
yeah.
and their bot plummeted and they had
That's what
no
I'm
one else
saying. Like,
working on the bot, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's not really a good situation to have one person, because they could be busy, or they could just like leave, like you said. So I wouldn't really start one with one person, but that's just me specifically. But if you have 8,000, you can just look at this. You have 4,000 for each person, which 4,000 is like a good amount. Like you can get a decent developer for 4,000. Um, so I'll probably say like 8,000 a month. And then when it comes to that, it really depends on the time that the production of your bot. Um, which, like you said, it really goes into the field that you're preferring. So if you look at the AIO field, those sites are harder to buy. You have like all the bot protections, so you're gonna need a higher level developer. Um, but with that being said, you're gonna need more money, higher like a more experienced developer and everything. But it's gonna pay off more because AIOs have a lot of resale, or the good ones at least. Let me say the good ones. Nah, even not. That's not even true. I see like some bots that are not even good and have like $1,000 resale. Not gonna lie, but but yeah, like, so a lot of bots, they just backdoor and everything. So that's like a really big benefit of having AIO. Um, but it's a lot more complex. You have to keep up more because sites are always like changing. Another thing too, bypasses are a really big thing when it comes to AIO, because like if one bot has a bypass, then they basically take all this stuff. I don't know if you saw for the Jordan 1 release recently,
Oh,
the
Night
blue
and
ones.
Nebula,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, Night and Nebula,
Jesus,
they had a
man.
bypass. So they basically just ate everything. And I know NSB and a couple other bots started hitting and everything, but it just wasn't to the extent that they did, it just wasn't to that extent.
Mhm.
So yeah, so like bypass is a really big thing. I don't know. That's why you always see like 1 week there's one bot doing good, the next week another one, the next week another one. Like it just like keeps going between different bots.
Yeah, yeah,
But you have the most potential profit for your company. And then raffle botting is gonna be easier to start a raffle bot, but the thing is, like easier in terms of making the application. But
yeah.
with that being
Okay.
said, it's gonna be harder to get customers because why would, if you look at it from this point of view, why would somebody go to like a lower level raffle bot or just a new raffle bot? They can just get it like a higher, like a more experienced, not more experienced one. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a bot that has a record of being a good bot. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
Because a lot of raffle botting I feel like is just experience. Because when you add a site, you just keep learning different things. Like, oh, you need an address, you need a phone number, like this type, like this, whatever. So I feel like it's hard for like a brand new bot to automatically just go in and just be good. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
So that's another aspect you have to look at. It's gonna be a longer run to grow big, and also like it's just really hard to compete because if you have a bot with 50 members versus a bot with 1,000, you know what I'm trying to say? Like the 1,000 is gonna most likely outweigh the 50. No, not most likely, it will outweigh the 50. You know what I'm
yeah,
trying to say?
yeah,
So it's gonna outweigh the 50. So it's just like, you know, if this bot's getting 100,000 entries, you guys are getting 1,000. It's just really hard to compete. And
yeah. And I
and
mean,
and yeah,
for some like starter raffle bots, right? I'm not sure
yeah,
if this was sort of the same trajectory that you guys followed, but
yeah,
I'm sure that having a complete module with
mhm,
all the tools available is not something that is, like realistic to start off
yeah,
with, right? There's
yeah,
some
yeah. It's
raffle
not.
bots out there that I've seen where, they'll do their job as a raffle bot, but they
Yeah,
won't generate the accounts. They won't do all
yeah,
that
yeah,
extra
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
There's those additional expenses that you would have to like incur if you
yeah,
didn't have the proper bot to do it, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's another thing too. Like you just can't really just start off with everything necessary. Like not necessarily, but everything. Like you said, all the tools and everything like that. Um, I mean you can, but then if you look at it like this, if you put more focus into 2 websites, then now you have like a really limited, uh, website based. Not website based, but like site list. So I mean, yeah, it's like that's what I'm saying. It's just like you can't really compete with bots that are built up over months and years. As a brand new bot. So it's kind of a hard thing to do. Whereas AIOs, you do good on Foot Locker once or twice, and you're just automatically, everybody's talking about you. You know
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say? It's just a little
yeah.
bit different.
How long would you say that it roughly takes to sort of build that up, at least in your personal experience?
Um, I feel like I mean you could probably do it in 6, like no, like 4 or 5 months. I feel like where you can get like a site list where everybody like is constantly just like winning. Cause yeah, you might have a time period where you're hitting like a site once or twice, but I don't feel like you're really like a complete good bot until you just have multiple sites that are just reliable that you just constantly hitting on. Like not just one where you guys do like decent on. Like you have to have like multiple sites. So like if one doesn't work this one time, no, it doesn't work, but they don't get a lot of pairs, then you had another bot. Like people are just constantly just winning stuff without the need of adding like a million different new websites and everything. So once you get to that point, I feel like you're just set, which I would probably say like 4 or 5 months for you to get like a good reading of everything and see like what
Yeah,
works, what doesn't work.
yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, like you always like to say, like, you got to be willing to spend money to make money, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
really how it works in our industry.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
Yeah,
exactly.
I always tell people it's scared money doesn't make money, right? That's
Yeah,
that's really just how it is if you have to be willing to lose money
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
something to make money. And
Yeah,
I'm sure like everyone's taken a loss on something, and I'm sure like even you have, right?
yeah,
It's
of course.
just it's just like failure is part of success. It's the way I look at it. So
Yeah, yeah. So You just gotta go for it. And if you're like super cheap with it, most likely it just won't work out.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if you just try to limit to this like $2,000 a month or something like that, it's just like the likelihood of you getting somebody good is it's not very likely. Like obviously, there's exceptions, but that's not something you can just like have the mindset of going in with and expecting you to have like the top product,
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. And a question I had for you was, how are you able to manage Osiris with managing things outside of sneaker Discord and sneaker Twitter and Rafflebot? How do you balance everything? Because it's a lot of work. It takes up a lot of time. So like, how do you balance that?
Honestly, it like it hurt, like not hurts, but it interferes with a lot of different things. Like I it interferes with a lot of different things. Like I I would just have to like just put other things aside for like, because I had to make sure everything was done right and everything like that. But for the most part, it just mainly fills my time. Like if I'm just not doing anything, then I actually like it because I'm just not sitting in my bed watching TV all day, just being bored. Um, but yeah, it's honestly not too bad since like, you can access Discord from your phone and everything. If you're a coder, that's a little bit different. That interferes with your life more. But if you're just like a manager or whatever, but um, you have everything right from your phone. So you can honestly be anywhere and just check up, make sure everything's getting done. So it's not too bad. But like, when you're out or whatever, it's gonna be kind of annoying because you're gonna be like on your phone and stuff like that. But it's not horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Yeah.
just keeping up with it, because at the end of the day, it's like a full-time job.
Yeah. It honestly is, and some people don't realize that. Because you have people that like DM you, and you don't respond within an hour, and then you have a heart attack. Like, and they'll be like, "Oh, why don't you respond to me?" Like, bro, I have to sleep too. It's like, so it's not like I'm up 24/7. Like I have to go sleep sometimes.
And for any of the listeners wondering, I just wanted
Mhm.
to address it on why my sound quality has changed. My laptop crashed, and I had to switch last minute to my phone. So just for any listeners that are wondering why the sound quality just went from
I was telling
100 to
DTX
0.
we got a second guest up in here now too.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's super interesting on how you're able to balance and make sure that you can come out with a great product, you
Yeah.
know, and also balance your life off Discord. I think that's super important. I think that's good for your mental health, and that's something
Yeah.
a lot of people don't stress enough in the sneaker community is mental health. And I think it was someone from Notify Proxies,
Mhm.
where I don't know if you saw this, but Notify Proxies flopped on
Mhm.
on UNC's,
Yeah.
and people were telling the guy who runs Notify Proxies to all these
Mhm.
really graphic things, I don't think I should just repeat on this podcast, but
Yeah.
and what have you ever gotten things like that where people will tell you things that they really
Like
shouldn't be
they're not
saying, and they don't.
satisfied. Just because they're not
Yeah,
satisfied too.
Yeah.
It's just petty, man.
I haven't really had anything like hateful. What I have had is like somebody would be like, "Oh yeah, I love your thing, like your bot or whatever," and then like it'll do bad one time, or like they won't do
The
good one
complaint.
time. Yeah, and then they know me up. Oh, it's so trash. Like, but bro, you were just messaging me a week ago. Oh yeah, it's so good. Like I had, I had this one dude on my Discord specifically. I'm not gonna name him, but yeah. So whenever we would do bad or whatever, or we used to have a lot of server issues. Everything's fixed now, but whenever something would just be an issue, we just come and chat like, oh, this bot's so bad. Oh, go to this bot, right? Which is like that's so unnecessary. Like, okay, if you want to go in and be like, like, oh, why is it broken? You're mad. I understand that, but you don't have to go in a bot and be like, oh, move to this bot. Like, oh, this bot works. Move to this bot. Like that's just unnecessary. Um, but then again, on the vice versa, when he would like message me, oh, thank you, like whatever. But then, once we do bad one time or whatever, he has like the biggest fit and like wants to like come argue with me and all that stuff. You know what I'm trying to say?
So how do you usually
Mhm.
deal with that stuff? Because that stuff must be like how annoying too. Because the thing is, like, at least for me,
Yeah.
I'd want, like, people to support my bot. You want to support it if I had one,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
don't come at me when it's not working, right? Like, it's a
Yeah,
process too.
yeah. Like not everything's gonna work 24/7. Like that's not really possible for everything to work every single time. But what I'll just do, I'll just be like, bro, like, let's say the truth. You know, there's an issue with whatever. We couldn't get an update in time. If you don't like it, then I mean, there's not much I can do about it. Like, at least we're making an effort to change it up and stuff like that, rather than just like leaving it be. You know, so I'm just like, if you want to leave, then you can leave. Like, it's
Yeah,
not.
kind of a
You know what I'm trying
there's
to say?
a
Yeah,
plenty of
yeah, yeah.
other
Like, because
bots.
I'm not like if you're gonna just sit here and complain all the time, then like I mean I don't care. Like not say I don't care about your money, but like I don't care. Like I'd rather just you not be here rather than just making you
Yeah.
mute for you to come in and complain all the time. Like I don't care for it to deal with that 24/7. You know what I'm trying to say?
Kind of a there's plenty of other raffle bots out there. Go test your luck. You're gonna find that like none are as
Yeah,
good as us.
that's literally what I say. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, like I don't want to name specific bots, but they'll be like, oh yeah, this bot they added this site, and then like the results will come out, and then we'll like win all the pairs, whatever, and then like but then they were boasting this like, oh they have this, right? And then when it comes out, they just end up getting filtered, and we just end up winning. So it's just like it's just funny, like if you're so high up on this other bar, then I mean, I'm not stopping you from going there. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you can go. Like, I'm not gonna force you to stay and like try to convince you. No, like if you will you just see like there's obviously down periods within the time that I had my bot like where we wouldn't be doing as well. Obviously, there's times where we'd be doing like extremely well. But yeah, when we wouldn't be doing as well, we'd be like, okay, well, we're gonna do this and this and this until prove it. And if you want to stay and wait and like see the progress, then you can. A lot of people would just be like, oh yeah, nah, like you guys didn't do this and this, and then now look at us, now we have like all of this stuff. So like people they're just very, very, very impatient. Very impatient. Like they would like pre our 1.0 update, they would be like, oh yeah, we need at this site, we need at this. I'm like, bro, like just wait till our 1.0 comes out. Like, we're gonna have all this new stuff. We just have to have like a lot of capabilities. Because a lot of stuff that is necessary to do wasn't really fitting the structure of our old bot, So
Yeah.
just wait till it comes out, whatever, and they would get mad, unsubscribe, whatever. Now, now 3 months later, not even 3 months, probably like a month after, 2 months after, everything I said we have now,
And all those people
Yeah.
are trying to get back in too.
Yeah, that's a funny thing. That's a funny thing. I always have people hit me up like oh yeah, I let it cancel before. Like
My
I'm
key
sorry,
expired.
whatever. Yeah, my key expired. I didn't notice. Like they'll literally be like, oh, I didn't notice, and then like they'll message me like 3 months later. Like, come on, bro, you noticed within the 3 months. And then yeah, nah, but there's some people that still hate though. Like there's one dude like I was saying before. I swear, one time Snipes they did a in-store raffle. Like you walked in store and like entered the
Yeah,
raffle versus
yeah.
online. So then I kid you not, I like my members were just going on. It's like everybody knows him in the Discord for the most part because he used to always just go in there and just talk trash, So my members went on his not one on his my bad. My members were like on Snipe's Instagram, right? And they were just like reading the comments. He would literally like he was like, oh, Osiris is clipped. Like give him like under the comments of the store
Of
of
Snipes,
Snipes.
that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. So he would like that's what I'm saying, but it wasn't even like he was messaging that to me or like he was saying it on Twitter. No, like he literally was saying it under a post by
They should
Snipes.
start tagging you guys too. That'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, yeah. He went under a post and Snipes saying, "Oh, Osiris is clip." Like it's just like you should, bro. Like you're doing extra stuff. Like you're like going out of your way to get like mad at us. Like, come on, bro. You're doing too much stuff now. You know what I'm trying to
Yeah, yeah.
say?
But so you've managed to accomplish all this in such, a short
Yeah,
amount of time
yeah,
with a
yeah,
lot of hard work and effort
yeah.
and a
Of
lot of
course.
investment. So, I mean, we're JuicedCast, right? And we're here
Mhm.
with you today as a special
Yeah.
guest. Well, what's in store for Osiris or for Jalen? Like what do you have in store for us
So
in these upcoming
yeah.
months? What do you got to bring for us?
So for Osiris, we're working on a 2.0 update right now. Even though we just released our 1.0 like the end of December, so not even 4 months. Not even 4 months, 3 months or whatever. We're working on a 2.0 update. It's mainly gonna be honestly, it's mainly gonna be Just stuff where it's like user improvements and everything. Because I mean, our site list. I was supposed to speak about that earlier and I forgot to. But our site list is pretty it's pretty cool. Like we have Foot Locker Canada, Foot Locker EU. Even though people don't really use it that much because we have mainly Americans.
Mhm.
But it's still there. Adidas like confirmed. The confirmed NFT like Nifty. We have a couple of NFT sites, so it's not just like purely sneakers. We have Funko too as well. So we have like other stuff that people buy and flip, not just sneakers, like PlayStation raffles, SNS, like majority of Shopify raffles, all the AOs I was talking about earlier. We have a lot of sites, and not to mention we have like another 40 standalone sites, like 40, 50 standalone sites. So yeah, we have
Got it.
we cover like probably like several hundred sites, like including the ones that we added as well as the ones that follow under our AIO sites. But
I
yeah,
gotta ask.
so
I saw Foot Locker on your Twitter.
this is
What's going on with that?
with the lugger.
Yeah.
What specifically?
So I saw that you guys support Foot
Yeah,
Locker.
yeah. Oh,
So how does that work?
Foot
Well,
Locker.
those are the in-store ones, right? Like
Yeah,
the
it's in-store ones. It's
pickups.
in-store ones. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But Foot Locker, it's for Canada and Europe. Because the United States, they kind of base theirs off of points, whereas EU
I was right
and
about to
Canada.
ask that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was
Foot
like,
Locker US,
so you
you
guys got
can.
accounts with like 5 million points.
Yeah. So you can buy Foot Locker US, but you're just gonna need like a lot of points. So there's no really benefit of it. But EU and Canada, they just pick at random. So those are like really easy to buy. You just make an account and like a lot of people spam like 100,000 entries. Like, it's a big store. So like a lot of people they'll win like 200 pairs. But the thing is, you can't really pick it up. So like
I had
a
a
lot
bunch
of
of
bots.
people win here in
Huh?
Canada, right? And
Yeah,
they had
yeah,
to go
yeah.
pick up their stock and they had like
Like
10, 15 pairs. And they're like, I
facts,
don't know how
right.
I'm not gonna show face like 15 times these
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. It's like a lot of bots. You'll go on and they'll be like, oh, we hit 1,000 pairs of Jordans. We hit 1,000. Like, nah, bro, you guys had 1,000 wins of Foot Locker wins that you can't even pick up. That you can't even pick up. So, um, yeah. So a lot of people flex that. That's like the main thing. But Foot Locker's cool. Like I said, we don't have a lot of Europeans and Canadians, but we do support it though. So like, if you happen to. But yeah, we don't really use it that often, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Man, that's worse than a PV in my opinion. You like it's so close yet so far. You win the raffle.
Yeah. Plus, like you were saying, if you win 10 bears and they see your name 10 times on the list, they're gonna be like, what? You know what I'm saying? And they're automatically gonna be subs. But yeah, no, I'm not really a big fan of a lugger. And on top of that too, like their servers are so bad. So, it's already pretty hard to like confirm your entries and like confirm your wins and everything. So it's not really the best side in my opinion. But I mean it's cool. It's not horrible. It's cool. But yeah, so we have all those sites and then we have an AIO coming that we're working on. It probably won't be called Osiris, but it will be like owned by the same people and ran by the Osiris basically. It's gonna be like a change up of the name.
That's
Um
big. That's big.
yeah,
Congrats,
yeah,
man.
yeah. So we're working on that right now. Hopefully that's done in like 2 months or so, 2-3 months. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're just working on the AIO right now, and then just adding new websites and everything, and trying to just I
So
don't know, it's kind
you
of hard.
mentioned
So
you
what?
mentioned earlier
Mm,
about, we were talking about like NFTs, we were talking about Top
yeah,
Shot and how
yeah,
like implemented these like requirements, right?
yeah,
Like you have to have, it's kind of like, I don't know if you play like, those of you listening play like 2K, my team, right? You need like certain
yeah. I
players
do.
to acquire a certain pack or whatever, same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, like how is that changing the outlook for like that element of your raffle bot? And then also
Uh,
like, how's the raffle scene looking,
uh,
with new bot protection? And our industry is really inflated right now with how many
yeah.
users we have. How is that changing the game for us?
All right. So first thing is the Top Shot thing. We were never really a Top Shot bot. We had one drop, right, where we got like I forgot how much it was. I think it was like 2,000 or something, like packs, because they had a raffle for that specifically. But with that being said, a lot of our users made a lot of money. So they were like, they started to get into Top Shot. So we have like tools, like we have like a spoof browser and stuff like that. Like within the Discord. And not the Discord, within the bot. So a lot of people just like use that. So we just have like tools and stuff like that. And we just post about it. And we're gonna actually add the queue the actual queue so you can fully bot it, even though we're a raffle bot and that's not really a raffle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we were still gonna add it, but unfortunately, they had their downfall. we're gonna add Top Shot, but that fell off, so it didn't really affect us too much because we weren't really like a Top Shot bot, and the people that are into Top Shot are also like into like other NFTs, and we support other NFT websites. So if anything, those websites are actually more profitable than Top Shot is now, especially with the new constrictions. What was the next question you had?
Yeah, so it was just sort of the outlook on raffle bots
Oh
today
yeah,
and like with our market,
and the
how it's
growing
going
user
with the
base.
users.
Yeah. Raffle bots are looking good. They're looking good. Like right now, we're probably doing better than ever. Especially considering like the versatility that we have and just the vast range of websites that we have. It's looking good. And I feel like every couple of months, more and more like big websites switch over to raffles. So it's a really nice thing. It's a really nice thing. Like there's a lot of websites that they'll literally get hundreds of pairs, like big stores. They'll get hundreds of pairs and they just raffle it off. So
So would you say that like the
yeah,
raffling element to
yeah,
boutiques now is
yeah,
sort of their way of combating like botting in general, that they're
yeah,
failing
yeah,
to
yeah,
realize
yeah,
that raffle botting now exists too?
yeah. But I mean, what I would say is that okay, let me just say this, right? So first come, first serve releases from a manual point of view, right?
Yeah.
It's basically impossible. Like I've still seen where people win raffles manually. Like obviously, your chances are highly, highly unlikely. And with raffle bots, they're like even more slim. But with that being said, there's still a possibility that your one entry will get picked. And obviously I've seen it time and time again where manual users will be like, oh yeah, well I hit this manual, whatever. Or I'll see like, in comments, like within like the stores, comments, oh thanks for winning. Not winning, but thanks for the dub and everything. So yeah, that's the thing about raffles. Like even they can get 1,000 entries or 100,000 entries, like you still have an opportunity. Although it may not be equal, you still have one. But it's first come, first serve bots. If you're like Shopify, if you're like a manual, like you're 99% chance not hitting, if that, like not even like
Yeah.
99.99%. You know what I'm trying to say? Because bots are they're just too quick. But with the growing user base thing that you were saying, I don't really see it affecting it that much. The only thing I will say is that if you have a bot with 50 users and you guys are entering like a couple thousand versus a bot with like 1,000, you guys are entering like a couple 100,000. The website is more likely to notice that and be like, oh, let me put some protection to this. Whereas if it's not that many entries,
Yeah.
they might just think it's like organic, you know what I'm saying? But then if you get like a whole bunch of entries, like one raffle, they get 2,000 entries. The next one they get 100,000. Like, oh, like it's evident that's happening. It's not 100,000 new people entering,
Yeah.
So that's the only like negative I would say. But with that being said, like the more people that get into raffle botting, the cheaper it gets to run raffle bots. So like mail services start like selling more, so they're more inclined to bring their prices down. You know what I'm saying? So you get more emails for your money. So I feel like it's honestly equal. Like before, they used to have like Gmails only, and you have to spend like $2 a Gmail.
Yeah. Yeah.
100 Gmails is $200. Whereas now for 200, you could probably get like 500 outlooks or whatever, like which work the same. You get like 500 outlook mails versus
Oh, really? I didn't even know
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's honestly not that expensive, but you get like 500 outlook mails, whereas before you would get like 200 emails. So it's just like a level playing field. Like it just continues to grow. But yeah, the only downside I would say is the sites are like getting a lot of entries. So they're like, nah, like they notice I don't like, unless they just don't care, they most likely notice that. Whereas if you have less users or less people entering, it's more like smoother, not smoother, but more likely to get passed by. But then again, you're when it comes to raffle butting, your like member count also, like I said earlier, like plays a heavy role. Plays a heavy role. So the bot perspective, you kind of benefit from having more members because you get more entries in, so your bot is more likely to get more wins. Unless it's like, unless it's like a site that's like exclusive to your bot, but it's a site that multiple bots bought it, then the more entries, more users you have, the more likelihood you have of getting more pairs in another bot. So yeah, I don't really see too much of a negative effect from it, honestly.
I have two real quick questions for you.
Yeah, of course.
So whenever I was looking for
Oh.
raffle bots,
Yeah.
I realized that basically all of them, aside from Osiris, right, supported only Windows.
Yeah.
You guys are like one of the only ones that, as
Yeah.
someone who has a PC but
Yeah.
only uses like their Mac, I'm like an Apple
Yeah.
fanboy.
You
I
know
always
why?
look for bots that also support Mac.
It's
So
because most of these bots are like CLS. That's why. It's just
yeah,
like majority of them are CLS. I think we're like one of the like 2 or 3 that are UIs. So when you have a UI, you can support both. Whereas Macs you can't run CLS. And I mean I feel like that's like more like a shortcut kind of thing because you don't need speed for most raffles, honestly. So CLS are faster, but you don't really need speed for most raffles. So like the whole CLI thing, I just feel like they're like, oh, they can't make a UI because you can just whip up a CLI. Like that's really not that hard. Whereas making a whole front end and like connecting it and everything is going to be like a lot more complex. But I prefer that because like as a beginner, like UIs are so much easier to use rather than like trying to figure out a CLI and everything. UIs are a lot easier to use. So I just that's just my preference. And also too, it's just like you said, Mac, PC, it's easier to use. And also, but yeah, it takes more work, it takes more work. But yeah, you just have the benefit of supporting Mac. So if somebody has a Mac only and wants a bot, your raffle bot, and they're kind of like very limited to us and maybe one other. But then
exactly.
the one other might not even be good. So I mean, they're basically limited to us, which is obviously it's a benefit.
So like for me personally, I have a PC, but like I'm always on the go, so I like always take my MacBook with me, and it's my go-to. That's why I always look for bots that are also supported that also support Mac, because a lot of the time, when I'm not running a server,
Yeah.
that's the movement. A lot of the times, 99.99% of the time, you're not running a server with a raffle bot, right?
Yeah,
Because that's not necessary.
Yes, that's fair. Yeah, me too. Like I have a PC as well, but I don't like using PC, so I have to use Mac. So I have to make sure like anything we make, I gotta have a Mac variant. Like I can't have a PC variant because I don't use PC myself. So I'm not gonna go out the way that I just hate PC. So everything we make has to work on Mac and PC. It can't be I can't be just PC.
Yeah, same. I can't stand PC.
Yeah,
Apple
me.
products are just so much more simple,
Yeah,
right?
it's just
It's
simple,
just
smoother. Like I don't know, PC. I don't know. I just hate using PCs. I'm on one right now, but I just hate using them honestly.
yeah, I mean, Macs are just also more sexy. It's just,
Yeah.
it's
It's just sleeker.
everything.
They got like all like the little commands, like you can like do 2 fingers and like swipe in and out and everything. So
Yeah,
like
the
it's just
two
like
finger
easier.
click.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
just like I just prefer Mac. I don't like all this extra stuff with with PCs.
yeah, man, I agree. It's good to finally
Yeah.
find someone in botting that, is also an Apple fanboy.
Everybody's like, oh, PC and everything. But I mean, Mac has this set of issues. Like sometimes like we have an auto updater. So our bot auto updates, obviously. But we have auto updater. So like sometimes like it will like break on Mac and they got like download it manually. Whereas they don't really have those issues with PC. But I mean that's about it. I don't really think there's one big issue we did have. We made an AI captcha solver. Made an AI captcha solver, and the goal was just like let them enter raffles for free instead of paying for like 2 captcha or like captcha services.
Which captchas does it work for?
Like just like regular captcha,
All of them.
not
Yeah,
audio, just like the regular click ones.
Okay,
click
yeah.
captures. Yeah, like kind of like how we put money into like Cat Monster and 2 captcha.
Mhm.
It just automatically like it like has a window and it just automatically clicks like
They have like their own auto solve type thing.
Yeah, pick a drive through like stuff like that. So we had an AI capture software. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on Mac. So we didn't include that in yet. Eventually I'm just gonna have to make like make it only supported with Mac, not Mac, supported with PC instead of just like not using it at all. But yeah, it's like that's like yeah. So that's like the one thing that's like a big discrepancy between the two is that because that's like a AI cups is always like a big like an important thing. But luckily, majority of my users are PC anyway, so it's not really gonna affect them. But yeah, I mean, there's some downsides to Mac versus PC. But I mean, aside from that, it's not really too much of any issues.
My second question was, I think
Yeah.
I'll definitely find the answer to this
Yeah.
funny is how many DMs have you gotten this month asking for a free key?
Well, I don't even know. Honestly, probably a couple hundred. Like a lot of people, they love stuff for free, but they don't like to pay. But they love stuff for free. They love stuff for free. I mean, I'll give you that. Like, I kid you not, right? We used to do like I don't really restock on Twitter anymore, but before we'd be like, oh yeah, like this tweet, and we'll like send like 5 random people purchase link or whatever. And we would send a purchase link, right? And then out of out of a couple hundred people or whatever, 1,000 people, we would select this one person or these 2 people. And then somebody would be like, "Oh yeah, I thought it was free. Never mind." Like, what do you like people hate paying for stuff, but I don't really see the point of hating to pay for stuff that's gonna make you money.
You
Like
got to spend money to make money,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. Like if you're paying for something that's like, oh, I don't want to buy this shirt, something that's completely different. But if you're like spending money to make money, then I don't really see the loss of that, especially if it's not anything big. Like at worst you lose like $100. Like what I'm trying to say. At worst you lose $100 or something like that. So it's really not the end of the world. But I mean, if you
Yeah,
put the effort
y'all
into it, you're gonna say.
are super affordable compared to other bots.
Yeah, raffle bots.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the only thing is like you can't really get them. What I'll say is like you can't. Like, I think all raffle bots don't allow resale. I'm not really sure why, but it's just like a thing. Like nobody really allows resale. Um, so that's the only thing that's you have to get your restock. I don't really know how hard it is to get other raffle bots because I don't pay attention. But like I said, we very rarely restock on Twitter and everything. But when you do catch one, it's cheap. It's like depending on your buy, ours is 150 initial price. Whereas you get cyber, you're spending like 10K or whatever the price is, or you
Then
get
it's 30 a month, right?
it's 39 now.
All right. It used to be 30, right?
It
Back in
used to
the
be it used to be 30 like 2 months ago. But yeah, whereas you get a regular buy, and it's a couple of thousand. So I mean, when you look like this too, you have to assess your potential returns. So if you have a bot that if you're making the same from us, it's another bot that you spend thousands on. That's a big difference. Even though they might have done equally as well. You're already in the green, whereas that bot you're still negative. And I mean obviously all of this comes down to money. Like this whole community is based off of that.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It's,
Yeah,
it's all
yeah,
about the aftermarket and
yeah,
how
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people that sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No, sorry,
I
you
know a
were
lot of
saying?
people that like they have AIOs, right? And they literally would make more money off the raffle bot off the AIO. Like it's crazy. Like it's wild. Like happens every single week. Like I think like just yesterday, I know a couple people that made like several $1,000 just off of the topes, like the topes. Like they didn't have to pick them up or like buy them. Like one dude sold like half his wins and made like 2.5 thousand just in a day off of like a raffle bot.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people just sell their wins. I think that's
Yeah,
genius if
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't
Yeah,
have the
that's the
capital
best
or
way. If you don't have
yeah.
capital, that's another thing too. Like you don't have to. Yeah. So with that being said, that's another thing too. I didn't even think about that. I see about that with Raffle you can just sell your wins. You don't have to have capital. But you have, if you have an AIO, for you to make $300, if the shoe resells for 50 profit, you have to get 6 shoes. So then now if you get 6 shoes, let's say it's a $200 shoe, you have to have $1,200. You something to spend on shoes. Whereas Raffle you don't. You just have to have, the bot cost, emails, and then after that you can just sell wins, which is honestly preferred anyways, because if you win 10 shoes and you ship them to the same address, it's most likely gonna raise a red flag. so it's honestly preferred to sell wins anyway. So it's another good point. I didn't even think about that, and she brought that up.
I'm not gonna lie, I was copying some wins off of your users last month.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah,
were
yeah,
in
yeah. But to me, it's like a mutual thing, like they give you this kind of price, you get the shoe for like cheaper than resale, and then you can, if you just let the
Exactly.
person know,
I
that's
can still
cool.
flip it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can still flip it. So it's like a mutual thing. So like people like will literally just be in the Discord like buying ones and everything, and then they also be like make money off of that, just buying other people's ones and everything. So it's like a cool little like circle to be in, and you don't you don't have to have a lot of capital to make money off of it, and also too, you don't even have to win. Honestly, you can just buy other people's wins and resell their shoes for them.
Yeah, he was like,
yeah.
he sold me 3 dunk wins, and I
Yeah.
was like, how do you even get this many wins on the site? And he was like, oh, Osiris Raffle Bot. And I was like, oh damn. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I see you.
Yeah, and it's cool. You just buy them, you get them for cheaper than resale price, and you can, like you said, you can just flip them and just make the extra profit.
Exactly. Yeah, for him doing no work except buying the Gmail.
Yeah, except just buying the wins,
Yeah.
which is like it's like 1, 2, 3. It's easy as that.
Yeah, exactly. I have a really quick question for you. So
Yeah.
you were kind of like talking about how you used to restock on Twitter.
Yeah.
What really influences you to like restock the bot? Like when do you know it's like, all right, we're gonna do a restock today? It's time. Like I've always wondered, like how do bot owners decide that? Is it like a milestone or?
It's pretty spontaneous. We usually do it for milestones. So like for 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. You don't really hit those too often. I feel like the time that you're most likely gonna restock is if you have like some cost that's coming up. So you have to hire a new developer, or you need to pay for like a API or just whatever the circumstances are. Then I feel like restock, you make the extra money, handle that, and you're good. So I feel like that's really like the benefit, like the not benefit, but the main time period where you do that. Another thing too is if you want to expand your user base. So you guys are doing really well recently. You want to add 30 people, 40 people, 50 people, whatever. Then you just restock, get your users, and you're chilling. At the end of the day, it's still a business, So yeah, it's like a little community thing. But the people that make the bots are in it to make money, as well as the users are in it to make money. So I mean, that's just at the end of the day, that's what it's really about. So
How many members do y'all have right now?
right now we let me check actually. We have 600 active right now. So yeah, about like 600, 700, 800 that are with that. There's only like 100, 200 active, to be honest with you.
Consistently using it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not, we don't have like, we have 600 members, but we don't have that many people active, to be honest with you. So yeah, if we were to, that would be a whole nother bug. But
Yeah, that'd be insane. But like
that would
no
be
server,
crazy.
no matter what it is, has 100% activity rate.
Yeah, of course. But we have about 600, 700, and then but like that's like 100, 200 active or so.